Good everyone. I hope you guys have an amazing day. So what I'll do today, I will talk about record triggered flow. Now, record triggered flow is very important from a business logic perspective because you might have heard about Apex triggers, right? I mean, if you're not a developer, you might have heard developers talking about certain things you can do using triggers. Um, and but that being said, right, and a lot of things uh, in today's time, like in 2024, given the advancement that's going on in Sales Flow, you don't really need to write an Apex trigger to deal with the simple use case, right? So when I mean simple use case, like for instance, you are updating a record, and if you wanted to update the related records, you don't really need to worry about, writing an Apex trigger. But that being said, Apex triggers are still very important, especially if you're dealing with a very complex use case. Then I don't think flows can be very handy. Um, you can still use flow, right? But you still need to um, give away some of the logic to Apex. So that's where you can write invocable Apex and call that using flows. You can do that, right? So it will not. So the reason why I'm talking about this, right? Many people have this impression. Now we have a record trigger flow. We don't have to worry about Apex triggers anymore. That's not the case, though, right? You still need to write Apex in certain use case, right? You cannot shy away from writing code, right? I do get the analogy that Salesforce is pushing everything low code, and and I still believe that the code is still necessary in certain scenarios, like when you're doing complex process, right? For instance, right, I was involved in one of the cancer project in New Zealand, and you know, I try to do a lot of things using flows, but at times I realize there's a massive performance hit, so I have to rewrite some of the stuff using Apex, and I've seen a tremendous performance improvement, right? So. Um, so yeah, like I said, it's a case by case. Okay, so what I'm going to do today, I will discuss how to create the record trigger flow, and I'll start with a simple use case, right, before we get into, the juicy use case, right, the complex ones, right. So the simple use case, uh, so it's very simple. Like you have an account, like I'll show you what I mean by that. Um, so I go to account. So when I create an account. So there is a type field. So let me create an account here first, right? To explain what I mean by that. So I create an account, let's say Dave, um, Dave Disco account, right? I'm just making something up, right? And we have a type field here, which is called prospect, which is a pick list, right? Where we have prospect, customer direct. So whenever we are getting a new customer, right, a new account, the business has a process to set this to prospect, and this will change to customer direct or customer channel. Let's assume that it will change to customer direct when you get your first opportunity as closed one, right? So I'll do save. Okay. Now, obviously, when I create a opportunity here, and when I mark the opportunity as closed one, that customer flag, the account type flag should set it to customer direct. That's all I'm trying to do in today's episode, right? Very, very simple, very basic use case. As you can see that it can be done using Flow, right? You don't have to write an Apex. You could write an Apex. I'm not saying you can't, but in my honest opinion, it's an overhead to write Apex. Excuse me, unless you're trying to do something more complex than what we're trying to do, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll go to this gecko icon, go to setup, and I will go here. Obviously, I'm using developer sandbox. I'm no longer using. Excuse me. I'm no longer using the PSS trial org anymore, right? Because that's pretty much expired. The trial. So I thought I might as well use my own dev sandbox. Okay, so I go to flow here, and by now you know how to create a flow, right? So go to new flow. Um, and I start from scratch, and I will do the record trigger flow, right? And okay, uh, so the requirement is whenever an opportunity changes its the stage to a closed one, right? It should set an account type field to customer direct. That's all it is. So we should be writing our trigger. The trigger should be on an opportunity because that's what is driving this logic, right? So what I will do opportunity. So you have many options here, right? Record is created. Do you want this trigger to fire when the record is created, or do you want it to be this to be fired when the record is updated, or do you want this to be fired when the record is created or updated? I'll keep it as record is created or updated. You can fire this when the record is deleted as well. So that's a different process. Now, what's the entry condition, right? This is very important. Uh, you shouldn't be writing a trigger record trigger flow without any entry condition. What that will do, if you end up in doing, say, for instance, condition requirement to none, it will fire pretty much on every scenario, right? Every time you update or create a opportunity, it will fire this condition, right? So which is not really great. So that's not what we're after. So what I'll do, I want to set this condition met. I think it's the prospect. No, I don't know what's this called. Stage equals, let's say, close one, right? Okay. Now every time a record is updated and meet the condition, or only when the record is updated to meet. So I'll keep this one. That's not a problem. And now you need to look at these two options, right? So fast field update. This is a before save. Before you actually saves your opportunity, do you want the account to be updated, or you want this to be an after save once the record gets updated for opportunity? Do you want the account to record to be updated? I would prefer this one after save. If you wanted to include to run asynchronous, you can do that. I'm not doing that here, and I will do save here. Let's name it. Um, opportunity update, account type update. This flow will update account type to customer direct when opportunity stage is set to closed one. So, the description is very important, right? Because let's say, you're away or you left the company when a new developer or a functional consultant, they want to look at your flow, they will know what this flow is about, right? That's why um, customer direct. What the heck happened here? An opportunity. Okay, so that's good. And I've already showed you the advanced tab in the previous episode, right? You can save this as a template if you want, but we're not going to do that, right? Um, so, yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, now that's done, right? Now we need to make sure we are updating an opportunity. Sorry, we are updating an account. So we click here, update the triggering record. Do you want to update opportunity? No. Do you want to update the related record? Yes. So account update. I'll just put this one. Look, I'm a big fan of updating the description, right? Um, because it's very important, right? And this is what one of the most common mistake I often see people. Uh, they kind of skip the description part, right? And I kind of get annoyed when I do the in the flow review, because this is a big thing for me. You're not putting an effort to update it, and I consider that as a very lazy practice, right? And that's really not really appreciated whenever I do a flow review, because descriptions are very important, and the same goes with the code. Your code commands are very, very important, right? Because it's not that you're going to stay in a place for a long time, right? I mean, it may happen, but that's a serious risk, relying on one individual person. So, okay, how to find a record to update to set their own value. Um, so you can say update record related to opportunity. So I'll keep this one here, and this is the triggering opportunity, and I will look for account ID. So I'll keep it here. Yeah. So what links your opportunity to your account is your account ID, right? Now, condition requirement to update the record. All conditions are met. Right, I'll say none. I don't need anything here. So, because what we're trying to do here is that um, you can't, what we're trying to do here is that we are checking an entry condition where opportunity stage um, equals to closed one. And when that happens, account type will be updated to the customer direct, right? So we don't need to put any filter condition. You could, if you like to say, look, the type is not equals to customer direct. You could do that. I mean, if you want, you can do that. Let's do that, right? Just to give you an indication. Type does not equal to customer direct. You can just put it. So this will ensure you're not constantly updating your account's record, right? Because every time, so what happens is that, let's say you have another opportunity, and if that gets set to one, so you will see this getting updated, right? Which is a kind of a pain, and it will give you a false information on a log. So, which is an extra overhead for an admin to see what's going on, right? Okay, so I'll do that here. I'll save it. Activate. My apologies, my throat is a bit messed up, right? I just came back today from San Francisco. I was not in the Dreamforce conference, right? I was in a PyTorch conference, so it was good, because, as you know, that I am not only involved in Salesforce, I'm heavily involved in AI space as well, especially in the transhumanism area. That's So it was a great opportunity to meet, different people. Um, but yeah, I didn't attend the Dreamforce. Okay, so um, where is the account? Right. Okay. Sorry. My apologies. Like I said, I'm a bit tired, so um, I think I'm doing the right thing. So okay. So I'll go here and I'll create an opportunity here, right? And I'll say, mm, buying beers, right? Why not, right? It's Sunday. Beer seems like a good choice, but yeah. And I'll keep the stage as prospecting. Oh, sorry, we need this. I'll just put it today. Okay. Now, if I go back to my account and I'll refresh it, and if I look at the details, you'll see pretty much nothing happened, right? It's still a prospect. Okay, now I'll go back to the related one and I'll go and change this to closed. Yeah, and I'll change it to close one. Save. Yeah, It's all done, nice and fancy. So let me go back to the account and I'll refresh it and I'll see what happens, right? Voila, here you go, the custom direct, right? So that changed. And yeah, that's how you write, a record circuit flow. It's pretty simple, as you can see, right? And I do appreciate the fact that these things can get too complicated, depending upon the use case. But today, I just wanted to showcase a very simple use case, right? Because I didn't have energy to do a complex use case. Like I said, I'm very tired. I didn't have much sleep after a long flight. But that being said, I hope you guys have an amazing Sunday. Adios.